Israel's ambassador to India, Ambassador Naor Gilon, is addressing the media. Let's cut across.
Attack. There is an attempt now also of Hezbollah to heat the northern border in order to take the attention of Israel. It's places where Indian UNIFIL soldiers are there. I hope they will all be okay. I hope Hezbollah will not misread us. It will be very costly to Lebanon and to Hezbollah. There was also an attack on Israeli tourists in Alexandria by an Egyptian security person, I understand. I will tell you, this is part of a concept that the Iranians are pushing of looking at Israel as a spider web, a country held by a spider web, because they misread our internal debates from time to time as weakness. This is our power. It's not that it's easy to beat us, and you know why we will prevail? We will prevail because we have no other option. I mean, the Jews all over the centuries suffered persecution and killing in many, many countries, not in India, of course. And once we have our own country, we had many, many wars and many challenges. We always prevailed. And we prevailed because we have no alternative. It's not that we can go to other places. So I'll stop here, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
We will be taking one question at a time. Yes, please.
Sorry, did I hear it right that there are Egyptian security personnel that have targeted Israeli tourists?
That's according to the news reports. This is you can see it in international news outlets. That's what they write. We don't have the details yet.
Okay.
Yes,
sir, will you seek support from countries like war on terror, what US did, like war on terror, or will you go for mediation?
For?
Mediation.
Mediation?
Can India or any other country?
I don't think that it's time for mediation. I think it's a time for explaining to the terrorists that you don't mess with the wrong people. Mediation will have its time when we will be in the position that we will want to mediate. For the time being, I think we have to go the way we know how to go, and the time also for talks will come. It's not now.
Sir, Siddhant from Beyond. If you can give us a situation right now, how much better the situation is as compared to when the terror strikes were launched, and when do you think that there will be complete normalization in your country?
Well, first of all, Israel is never normal. What others call normal, what we call normal, other people don't see as normal. All our lives we live under threat. We're used to that. We all go to military service. It's not. Don't look for normality. But to your question, the situation is much better. Yesterday, there were terrorists in more than 20 communities. Now there are none, maybe one or two pockets, but it's contained to a very small place, and there are forces fighting them or surrounding them there. And I think we are at the stage where we are back to our usual plan. The only thing that we have here is that we have human civilian hostages in Gaza, which will be complicated, of course. But apart from that, I think that we are stabilized. There are rockets that are coming, but we know how to deal. We have Iron Dome, and we have our procedures of safe rooms. And if we keep all these, we are usually able to minimize to close to zero the number of casualties from the missiles and the rockets. And now we are freer to take what we need to do in order to make sure this doesn't happen again.
So Ayushi from NewsX, sir, you mentioned about Iran. So because this provocation has given rise to the fact that Israel may attack Iran because of its support to Hamas. So what is the possibility of that? Also, anything that you want to like to say on Turkey's role in support to Hamas as well?
As I said before, we will reserve for ourselves the decision when and how to attack, to react. First of all, we are going to react to the perpetrators. And if we find that they are accomplices, we have our own ways of how to deal with the people who are going in, who are trying to hurt us. So we always have, and we will have in the future. For the time being, Hamas is the issue, and others supporting. Their time will come if we will find out that they were behind it. People, you remember from Munich, after the killing of the Israeli athletes, Israel did not rest until it got to all the people who were responsible for that. And this is our DNA. It's not something that we did once.
Mr. Gursimran from Republic TV. My question is that on the one side we are seeing Hamas terrorists advancing into your territory yesterday, what we saw, and then it was followed by the attack from the Lebanon side, Hezbollah. Don't you see that the opposition side, they are opening multiple fronts against Israel, and how you are going to respond to it? Because you also said that you have credible evidences when it comes to the involvement of Iran.
Israel was always a leader in the world in confronting and combating terrorism, and we are going to show everyone our abilities very soon.
You have a list of countries where they belong to. Also, is there a threat to other Israeli nationals who are in the Arab countries or in other countries? Is there a threat? Do you perceive that threat?
So as to foreign nationals, we are compiling lists. Of course, as now we are compiling of Israelis or foreign nationals, whoever was there, regardless of their nationality, and we were already contacted by different embassies of missing people, etc. So this is being this is under work. And the second half of the question was?
There are Israelis in other countries, like Arab countries. Do you perceive there is a threat to the Israeli tourists or the Israelis who are there in other countries at that moment?
I think I said it before. We understanding very well the wish of countries to surround Israel, to show that Israel is vulnerable, attacking Israelis wherever they are. There were Iranian attempts to do that in the past against Israeli regular tourists, against Israeli diplomats. I would not be surprised if there would be such attempts in the future, but we are preparing ourselves to all eventualities.
One more question, Lida from NewsX. Now there are a number of Israeli nationals and foreign nationals who have been captured by the Hamas terrorists. Are they then going to use them to get in exchange their terrorists who have been captured by the IDF? Would there be pressure from international organizations and particularly these foreign countries whose nationals have now been captured by Hamas on Israeli government to get them back?
I don't know. For the time being, we have to take action. As I said before, we will get to the time where when we see how we deal with the issue of the hostages. There is a bad track record of Hamas, as I said before, of using civilians, their own civilians, as human shields. There is a bad experience of them keeping bodies of Israeli soldiers who were kidnapped in different ways and not releasing. There is a history of them keeping two Israelis who are with mental issues, who went to Gaza because they have their own private issues and problems, who are they keeping as if they are, I don't know, big values to anyone. And I'm sure they'll try to maximize also now the hostages. We will have to deal with it.
Ambassador, ask you from NTV. Do you think now a ground offensive in Gaza is inevitable?
Again, I don't want to preempt what Israel is going to do. I think that Israel is going to take action, that it finds the right action, the effective action, and we will see. We will see. I think that it's better to keep our adversaries a little bit nervous and on the edge and not understanding exactly what we are going to do and how we are going to do it.
Ambassador, this is Priya. Two questions. One, while we've seen that this episode has united Israelis, there seems to be a question as to how Hamas militants infiltrated the country in southern areas. A lot are questioning whether this is a security failure. So what is your response to that? Secondly, we've seen analysts say that this attack by Hamas is an attempt for it to establish relevance, as Israel and Saudi Arabia have been talking about normalizing their bilateral relationship and normalizing their ties. So do you think this episode could negatively impact those talks with Saudi Arabia?
When it comes to the question of the failure, I think that there are many questions Israel has to ask itself, but this is not the time. The time now is to unite and to fight against the threat. And we are known, especially IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, but not only, we are known to know how to look into our mistakes and failures and learn from them. So I'm sure this process will be done, but only after our main first aims are achieved, and then we can go there. And as it comes to others in the region, I don't believe this should be an impediment to anything with our neighbors. At the end of the day, Israel was unprovokedly attacked by a terror organization, which I think is perceived also by most of our neighbors as a terror organization, an extreme organization. So here there is a convergence, I believe, of interest. I hope they see it this way. I hope we can continue, because I think that the change that we are bringing to the Middle East, and this is one of the reasons maybe that countries like Iran and other extremists are trying to derail it, we are bringing a very, very huge and significant change to West Asia, as you would call it. Countries working together against extremism and hatred. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity even to unite us even stronger rather than weaken us. But it really depends of how countries decide to take it.
I'm Mr. Moulin from NewsX. My question is that after a long gap, the world is polarized in two parts. One is in favor of terrorism and another against the terrorism. How do you see this development particularly when you are terror affected? There are lots of countries, they are favoring Hamas, they are making it like they are making kind of thing that they are going to support Hamas or the Palestinian animals.
Well, I don't think that any serious country can support terrorism. I think it's only countries who have no human values can support terrorism. Terrorism is not a mean for anything, and I deplore countries who are giving support and hosting terrorists. So I don't see the world divided into two around terrorists. I see the world divided into two around values. The people who have values of human life and human dignity, and people who don't.
Ambassador, I'm Abhishek Jha from CNN News 18. Israel has been mostly supported and being stood by all the Western countries, NATO allies in the past also. This time around, when you are having kind of unprecedented crisis, NATO and most of the EU is engaged with Russia and Ukraine. You think they are constrained with the resources or the means that they could come forward and help you in your fight against this current fight?
Again, as I said before, and I will repeat it, Israel knows how. Israel never asked for anyone to come and fight for us. We don't want any blood spilled. I had, by the way, quite a few Indians who wanted to volunteer, and I told them, thank you very much, but we fight our own fights. We don't want other people to fight our fights. It was always our way. It's true that the Americans are helping us with the supply of ammunition because we manufacture together, we develop together, and we will deplete quite a lot of ammunition every time we have a conflict like that. But other than that, I don't really care if people are not. I don't need anyone to come into my aid. We will do that. We have all the capacity to do that. We are a very small but strong and very fierce country, and we are okay.
Any defense aid with India, from India, that you have sought or you have been?
We haven't asked for anything. I'm not sure that we need anything. I think that we are okay. Our problem here is not weaponry. This is not the issue. The issue is that we are fighting inhumane terrorists who are not shy of the any tool, old women and young children, as a weapon in the war. This is the problem. It's not, the ability of Israel to inflict pain is on an organization like Hamas is endless. The only thing that is stopping us is not Hamas. is the human population that we try, the bystanders, that we try in any way not to hit. This is the only thing. Hamas couldn't care less about their people. They couldn't care less, because for them it's another legitimate weapon using against Israel.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.